Keeson. With me today is Debbie G of Spirituality Gone Wild. This is your Daily Dose of Happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. And here we are. We're all three of us here today. This is cool because Debbie hasn't been able to be here every week, but she's here and she's going to be telling us some absolutely amazing stuff that she's been going through lately. I mean, I just know little pieces of it from stuff that she's shared so far. But I mean, it's really great. And we are now welcoming Neo Positivity, who did one show with us last week. It was so good. We had to ask him back to do it permanently. So Neo is now joining us on Fridays. Welcome, Neo.
Thank you. Thank you. It is my pleasure and honor to be here.
And it's our pleasure and honor to have you here. And Debbie, when you get to know this guy, you're going to probably be as blown away as we were, because this guy is just like, well, first of all, he's like you. He's like super high energy. Second of all, he has some of the most interesting takes on vibration and attraction and so forth that you've ever heard. So it's going to be good stuff.
Well, actually, I already know that. You know how I already know that?
How do you know that?
Because like Neo's really easy to find. It's Neo Positivity. So you just look that up on Facebook. I was actually listening to something. I love his thoughts become things. I love this. Okay, guys, we're going to, because it's all about, we're going to raise that vibration and we're going to do it by sparking that G vibe, man. That's it. I saw you. Oh my God. You all just listen. And what I love most about Neo, since you're here, if I could talk about you here, Walter, I'll just talk about him like he's not here. So you know what I love most?
Well, you could do that.
Neo? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. What I love most was he's no bullshit, and I just
no kidding.
Oh my God, it's like rip it, baby. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. That was great. You need to intro me at my summit for real.
There you go.
What I do.
Amazing.
Spirituality has gone wild, and we are in the house. So
that's right,
gentlemen. How's your week been?
Mine's been crazy, but it's been good. Neil's has even been better. I mean,
amazing. I'm on this campaign to outdo my yesterday, and I'm on like 4 days straight. Just I'm wondering what the hell's gonna happen tomorrow. Sorry, my language. But just getting stuff done. Stuff that might be little stuff to other people. We can celebrate them, the way we want to celebrate them. So like I just got pre-TSA approved yesterday. I'm so happy about that because those lines
no kidding
are insane. And then you always see that one line where the people just walk through and it's like, I want to go over there. Do it. $85, they fingerprint, do it, get it, trust me. Last 5 years.
Wow. Seriously, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
You learn something new every single day. Where are you going? Where are you going to head?
I am always flying somewhere. So it's just good to have that in line. My next flight, I don't know. It's probably going to be back to Miami to test out a hotel for, a potential summit in October's summit physical location. Hopefully that'll be popping up soon. I'm going to manifest that to be the next trip. Yeah.
Yep. I love that. I see that happening too. It's going to be extraordinary. There's this one hotel called the Fiona have you heard of the Fiona?
No.
Go check that out. If you're going to be in Miami anyway, you're checking out hotels. Check that one out. It's so insane. So Jessica Alstrom did her Quantum Revolution there. It was gorgeous. I didn't attend that one because it's in Miami. I don't even remember why. But anyway, so check that out, dude. It rocks. So
sounds great. So what's been going on with you? I mean, because you just been like flying at 5,000 miles an hour for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know if you can remember half of it, but if you can, share.
I had an amazing time. I went and helped with an event out in Arizona at the beautiful Veterans Village, Ken's Community, with Bruce Perlowin, Craig Perlowin, all of these gorgeous, wonderful people, the vets, Warriors for Life America. Yeah, rock on. I mean, this is an entirely, I don't even know how to explain this. It's a sustainable community where Bruce has added in hemp. So they get a plot of land. They live off the sale of the hemp. It's self-sustaining. Their fruit, their vegetables, everything's there. It's based off of the Anastasia chronicles that were written out of Russia. An entire community and things. And I had never heard of the book. Kathy Mason's heard of this book, but I hadn't. Anyway, it's extraordinary. There's a lot of people in this world that talk about doing stuff, that talk about, oh, it would be nice if. These people are doing it. They're making it happen. And you know, Bruce Perlowin is the king of pot. He is the original. He's the OG. I mean, this dude is awesome. Well, he is, seriously. I interviewed all the smugglers. I interviewed guys that spent 18 years in our federal prison for marijuana. Hello. Somebody pull something out their ass, please. Who spends 18 years in federal prison for freaking marijuana? It's a plant, for God's sake. So we're on this huge mission to release anybody else that is still behind bars. But that's just like an overview real quick, y'all. Okay. And you'll be seeing the interviews from the actual smugglers and things like that. It is coming. All the stories. Well, you saw I interviewed Billy Hayes, The Midnight Express, which came out in 1976 and was Oliver Stone's great Oscar-winning movie. And it was about Billy's experience being imprisoned in a foreign country. And anyway, talking about gratitude, like he has all of these appreciation factors that he goes into for all the things he learned while he was in prison. You know, Billy's an amazing guy. So that's an example of kind of the stuff that I manifest, that we manifest as a collective consciousness, because that's what we're here to freaking do.
Well, actually, you do it as the point person, but I get your point. I mean, it's a great point.
Well, wait, there's more shit. You guys aren't going to trip the hell out. Okay, so check this. And believe me, y'all can pop in anytime. So listen, Neo, you're going to love this. Walt's been waiting for this one. So let me tell you guys how remarkable this is. So here's a story of a lovely lady. She just kidding. I'm sorry. Have to. It is Friday. Life's not to be taken seriously ever.
This is true.
Ever. And I'm sitting there talking to Bruce. And I'm like, Bruce, have you ever watched this documentary called The Reality of Truth? And he smiles. And I said, there's this place called Rhythmia, which Jerry Powell owns, and it's over in Costa Rica, which I want to go. I love this because it's a dream of mine. And he looks at me and smiles and tells me then how he was at Rhythmia before it was even opened. And I'm like, of course you were. He is Bruce Perlowin, for goodness sake. Oh my God, he's so cool, you guys. I swear to God. He is like a total freaking elf. He's like this little elemental. I swear. I love him. He'll tell you he's magical. So he looks at me, he goes, well, he goes, do you know Zappy? And I said, well, no, of course he knows Zappy. Zappy's the director. Now Zappy is, oh my God, amazing. All right. So then he dials up Zappy. So then I wind up on the phone with Zappy. Hey, Zappy, I love you. If you're ever watching this, which you will be, I'm sure. And so Zappy and I are talking, and he starts, okay, y'all, now hold on. This is like a roller coaster ride. Ready? We've been chugging to the top, and now we're at the top and ready to go for a ride. What? Okay, so then he goes, so then he says,
it's a trip just listening to you. I don't even care what the message is. It's just a trip listening to
y'all,
you.
Seriously, I swear
you
to God,
fly at like 25,000 feet and then you go up. I mean, you don't even stay at that level. You keep going up.
That's right. So, boom. There's only one way to go, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zappy and I are talking, and he tells me about a movie he's just finished with Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom, he's a basketball player, and he was married to a Kardashian. Not that but I guess that's notoriety in itself. Anyway, this is about his process of sobriety, you guys, using Ibogaine, using ketamine, using plant medicine. So what's exciting is tonight at 6:00, we're getting a private screening of this movie. And I have, because of wonderful Josie Herndon with Advanced Therapeutic Services, who also has a show on Spirituality Gone Wild. She has integrated me into the recovery industry We've got people all over because of her tenured online journal. Spiro's going to be there, and he heads an Ibogaine actual treatment center out of Arizona. These guys are in Arizona. We're working with the Warriors for Life, one-on-one. This is all tied together, period. The moral of the story is this: just go, move forward. Quit worrying about this, that, the other, the how, the why, or any of that shit. Just know what you know that you know, and go do it. And just know, you've got to know the universe shows up. And how does this have anything to do with money? No. I want to be really straight about that, actually, because we are talking about abundance. This is abundance on a level that is beyond anything money or anything tangible like that could ever be. We are actually talking about breaking the silence and having an actual opportunity for people to truly bust through PTSD, because it's proven. And when this movie comes out with Lamar Odom at the end of the month, y'all know this is going to be mind-boggling, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah, sure.
so what the Spirit has done is said, here, Debbie, you know all these people, and now these people can come in here that do this journey and that they have this mission, and everybody is going to be together in one little space. And these are people that actually are doing, not talking. And I'm excited about that. So that's my latest.
That's a lot of latest, and that's nicely condensed, I have to say, considering, I mean, I know you've gone through like a whole bunch of stuff over the last few weeks, so you tied that up together really nicely. Very well.
Oh, thank you. Wow, there's a shit ton more.
I'm sure there is. Yeah.
That's just that right there in its little nutshell, There's some super fun stuff too. But I want to just stop right there because I feel like that Neo might have some questions or some thoughts.
I did want to mention one thing that I try to stress as much as I can to people. When you have a goal, the more people it impacts, the faster and smoother it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And with the law of attraction, with spreading the law of attraction as a goal, it's no wonder all the pieces just falling together for you. They're just falling into place. Mm-hmm. And then just watch the beauty go. We take guesses as to what's going to happen in between. I'm going to meet this person. I'm going to do that and that. And then we end up being wrong. And
I know that one.
Oh, right.
I'm still better anyway than we could have thought it was going to be. So we spent that time upset for no reason. Like, those are the little games that we got to discover about ourselves and end them before they start. And just keep doing what you're doing. I love it. The wheels are turning. More people are getting involved. Like I always say, companies are working together that might not have worked together before, and we collectively manifest something different. And I love it. I love what you're doing. I love to be a part of it. Let me know.
I love the fact also.
The door's open. The door's open. I mean, like literally, whatever. Right? Come on, then. Come on.
Come in. That's it.
All right. So send me your email address, and you'll be at send me your email address, darling. And we're friends on Facebook, so just pop it over to me, and you'll be there. Nice. Okay, tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific time, and it's private, guys. Walt, if you want to, I was going to tell you about this. Yeah. If you are available, Walt, and you want to be there, this is an opportunity for us to see how that we can be of service for this entire mission. Mm-hmm. If you look at mindarmy.org, everybody, you'll see some more things behind what Zappy is doing right now. I'd also like to do a huge shout out to Hemp Incorporated. What Bruce and Craig and Frank are all doing, what everybody is doing is just wow, unbelievable. These KINS communities are going to be all over the United States, and that's what they're doing right now. And battered women and children, anybody that's dealing with PTSD, they're even opening a healers healing retreat center.
Wow, very good.
Super cool, right?
I also want to mention, well, first of all, Jeffrey, I want to throw Jeffrey's comment up. He said, love to all those with PTSD. I have a few clients that I'm working with that have PTSD. Keep healing, friends. So, yes, thank you for sharing that, Jeffrey. I also want to address something you talked about, Debbie, when you said, I don't remember exactly how you said it, but the gist of it was abundance is more than just money. And it's a really, really key point, because we tend to think about abundance in terms of money. But just to give one very obvious example, if you don't have your health, the money doesn't do you any good. You got to have the abundance there, too. If you don't have the relationship you're looking for, the money isn't going to do you a whole lot of good. There are people who who are millionaires who have no relationships and no health. What kind of life is that? So
Well, it's boring.
way
That's what
beyond
it
money.
is.
Well, it's more than boring. It's actually unhealthy.
Yeah.
It is. It is. This is true.
Yeah.
I love you brought that up. I had something come through my memories on Facebook today. It was Bob Miller, who was Mr. Practice Gratitude Success. Abundance is that which you hold in your heart with a deep gratefulness
Mm.
and love. It's just a pure love. And he's no longer on the planet. It's a pure love. That's the only thing you're taking with you. You come into this planet and you are naked as a jaybird.
Just in case you weren't sure of it, we wanted to make sure you understood.
Your booty is bare. And when you leave this planet, and another thing, the very first thing to beat is the heart. And the embryo, the very first thing when you are created is your heartbeat there's 40,000 brain cells that emulate brain cells anyway within your heart. Okay. This is this is Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza's work.
Mm-hmm.
The Heart Math Institute. So go back to, so you're born naked. Your heart's the first thing to beat. Your breath is the first thing you take. Oh, life force. Okay. When you croak, guess what? You're naked. Well, you're going to be.
And you're beyond caring at that point, but that's another thing.
Well, you're not actually giving a rat's, but I haven't croaked yet, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to give a shit. But your heart stops and you take your last breath. Now, between birth and there, we all of a sudden decide that we're going to make all this other shit important. The only thing you take with you, if it's your heart, then that obviously means that the who you're grateful for and the who in your life is a hell of a lot more important, and who that you can leave a heart print on the planet with today is more important than any physical thing could ever be. That's really, I think, the biggest thing that's came out of my life today. That's the only, and I could be wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're on the right track.
I'm just letting you know.
I might say it a little bit differently. The way I would say it is, abundance to me means fullness of life.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And fullness is really what jazzes you. Anyone who has any doubt about the importance of jazz, listen to Debbie for the last 5 minutes. Just play that section back. That'll get you the idea of what jazz is all about. I actually don't think there's any of our listeners who have any doubt about it, but I'm just saying.
We're going to help. We're helping. We have freaking solutions, guys.
Yeah. Definitely.
Come on now. We have solutions. Hey, neopositivity. Your solution is in the name, neopositivity. Debbie G. Debbie G. Spark the G. Oh, the G vibe girl. Like, you see how these two just meld? Walt.
You guys just kind of like started right out of the gate with the name. That's where the whole thing started, and you just kind of grew it out of that, which is fabulous. You started with an idea. Gee, what a shocker! You started with an idea, and the idea exploded. That's so cool.
Yeah.
When you're passionate about something and you just go for it, put everything into it, you get the results. That's why I try to tell people to just make sure you're in alignment with what you're doing and give it your all, and just watch the universe amaze you. I wanted to say real quick about your analogy, Debbie. It's like when you come in naked, you don't care. And when you leave naked, you don't care. And those are the two common things that stood out to me. Like, you're just fresh, you're free, you're ready to live this world. You're not worried about stuff. And then as we grow older, we start worrying about more and more. What am I going to do here? What is this person going to think? How much do I got to spend here? And we pick up all these nasty tendencies, I guess. And then at the end, we're right back to not caring again. So it's like, why not just get there sooner? That's my whole thing. I noticed a lot of elderly people would be staring off places, and I wondered why. I was like, are they just losing it? Like, what's going on? And what I think how I kind of realize now is, like, the first third of your life you're learning, the second third of your life you're using what you learned, and the last third of your life you're pretty much like, I don't care, like, forget all. I learned that none of that matters. Let me just enjoy some nature. And so I was like, you know what? Let me get there now and not waste all my time. And so, yeah, I'm really into nature and views and stuff like that, and staring off. Me and my grandma, I was the only person in the family that she would just stare off with, and we'd go out on my balcony and just stare off for hours. And I know people probably thought, what are they doing? I'm like, leave us alone. We good. Leave us alone.
I love it.
Yeah, it's different ways of seeing things, man. You got to trick the ego. You got to make the ego shut up, which means you got to see things differently because stuff is going to keep happening. So that's just one of my many methods.
That's a good
love
one.
that. Actually, you were saying if you can't sit, I heard you in one of the talks you were doing, and you said if you can't sit alone with yourself, there's something not good there. There's something wrong here, and this is a really big teaching that Neo's got about sitting. Can you sit there quietly without your phone? Can you just sit and be Ferdinand the Bull for all y'all that are as old as me?
I love that book too.
I know,
really do.
right? So I'm just gonna sit and smell the flowers.
Just wait.
And what
That's
if you
one of my-
can't, Neo? What if you can't? What if you can't? What do you suggest people do if they can't sit?
Untether.
Yeah.
That book, Untethered Soul, I've only just got to know it a couple weeks ago, but it's really changed everything. And if you can just listen to that voice that's talking, you'll disassociate from the situation at least for a couple seconds, and just keep doing that over and over again. You'll get better at it. Your moments of peace will last longer, and then you will be able to sit in a chair. But unfortunately, like seriously, 99% of the people I know can't sit in a chair for more than 15 seconds because I think that what's going on up here is so bad they don't want to be there. Honestly, they're like, I just need to get out of Dodge, and they'll get up and walk away. And it's like that. You don't find anything wrong with that, that you can't be with you like for more than 30 seconds. And so it's kind of like, yeah, it's a shame, but that's what we're here for. That's what
Well, it isn't even the sitting. It's like you say, it's the being with yourself. There are people who just can't be alone. That's really what you're talking about. I think people who just don't feel comfortable enough in their own skin to just be with who they are. And you're right, it is kind of sad. On the other hand, I always like to think about it in terms of the multi-step method of manifesting. It always starts with what you don't like, right? You have what you don't like, which tells you what you do like, which tells you this is what I'm going to focus on. You start focusing on it and you start getting it. Well, the first step is here's what I don't like. And if the first thing that you don't like is being alone with yourself, okay, you got a starting point. And it's a good starting point because the moment that you finally come to the conclusion that, maybe I really would be better off if I actually could spend some time with myself, that's the moment when everything starts to shift. That's the moment when everything starts to get better because we decide not to worry anymore about the fact that we're alone.
I love that. And you know why I love it? Because listen, how old was I? When I split up with my ex 6 years ago, well, I'm 53 now, so I was 47 then? So yeah, I just did math. I'm all proud of myself right now.
Good for you. All right.
Anyone that knows me, GPS and math. Done. Over that right now. But I had to make a conscious decision to be alone because I just didn't want to do relationships and relating again the way I was doing it. So I had to stop and step into a different space. Or realize, we're never alone. And actually, okay, y'all, what do you think about if we look at like what David Strickle says and we say preferences? Is a preference not so much a preference? Is a preference not so much a preference? I'm even removing the judgment of like and dislike or the discord with it and looking at it and realizing it just is. It just is.
Debbie,
if it's not our preference, but without actually just judging it. Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. I just wanted to say they're
please.
They're happy about you sharing the Mind Army on Facebook. So we're gonna get some people. It's not a private thing. More people can come, or just invite type deal.
It's just an invite, guys. Yeah. Okay. There is the world premiere is coming, and I will have all of that information for everyone to see the world premiere. This is specifically for those in the industry, those that do PTSD work, and that kind of thing. Both of y'all are in that category, you two. So it's definitely, I mean, anybody who does this specific work, who wants to get behind plant medicine being an alternative. There's aftercare, guys. There's all kinds of stuff. I just met with Daniel Gutierrez a couple days ago. He's here in Long Beach. I love you, Daniel. And he owns Catalinas, which is in Peru. And this is another center. This is another place where this medicine is possible. And what I've seen with my own two eyeballs, y'all, I sat and I've watched Marines that have been in severe combat, that have lost tons of their men, that have had to kill.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've sat and I've personally watched them in ceremony.
Yeah, this is touching a nerve, I can tell.
Because they deserve to be free. That's why. They deserve to be free. We all were born free. Nobody deserves to be bound by their mind because of experiences that they've had, and they don't know how to stop the cycle.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do to say enough. They don't know how to do it because it's just how this is. Severe PTSD. Now, I've had some pretty gnarly shit myself, so I'm telling y'all, it's just like an amazing experience to be part of this environment where we have solutions so that the things I just said are true.
Mm-hmm.
What you're
talking about reminds me very much of someone who's been a past visitor here on the show a few times, Chief Harold Peck. Was in the military at least 3 tours of duty. I can't remember exactly how long he was in. And ultimately, they didn't boot him out. They just kind of pushed him out, saying, "Look, your body is a wreck at this point. You can't do it anymore. Go live your well-earned retirement." So he did, but he was still dealing with the PTSD, and he decided on his own to take a walk across Colorado this past summer, a 500-mile trek. 500 miles.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he was out in the middle of nowhere for large chunks of it, out there with nature and the stars in the sky and all that kind of stuff. And he ended up doing indirectly what you talked about. He ended up coming face to face with himself, and he ended up basically challenging himself on the question of how was he going to get past what he had perceived for the longest time as his own brokenness. And then he had an epiphany. His epiphany was, I'm not broken. Nope. I was never broken.
Nope.
And it changed his entire outlook. I mean, he's right now, I know he's been going the last few months, he's been going through kind of a personal retreat to kind of come to terms with what he learned this past summer. But it was life-changing for him. And I'm thinking, when you're talking about these guys who are out in Arizona doing the same kind of thing, I'm thinking, I wonder how many of them are now able to say, I am not broken.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to we're going to go one step higher. Not only are they saying they're not broken, but they found their inner, their king. They're king. They found their inner king. These men are stepping into their masculine, to their king. They found their king. And we are the queens to help them. We are together with them to do this thing. We support our kings in finding their inner voice. That's what we do. And that's what I saw happen, dude. It was like serious men. I have pictures. I have pictures. I have pictures. Oh, I posted them. They're absolutely adorable. I can't. Well, okay, so I need to know this, Chief Peck. I'll tell you what. But I did post them, actually. If you go onto my personal Facebook page, you'll see all the Marines out there doing yoga in adorable shorts. They're just way cute. They're adorable. Wow. I love you, Kane. I love you, Leland, and Hamilton, and but they're adorable. Like I'm old enough to be their mamas. That's not like that, but they are really cute shorts. I gotta admit. No. If I were young, I would think those are real cute shorts.
I don't think you have to even wait on that. You've already gotten there at any age.
I don't know, tell you what.
Yeah,
So
right.
so Neil, what do you think of the inner king?
I'm pretty sure one of my profile pictures is a pawn with a mirror that has a king on the other side. Um,
Love it.
I think that is detrimental to all of the law of attraction. I wasn't able to excel, to really explode until I wrapped my head around the king within, or the God within, whatever you want to call it. But I really take oneness with God to a different level. Like in my
Yeah.
mind, I did it earlier with the Play-Doh. I wish I had it. Where I make the Play-Doh with two lumps and I'm like two people and give them a story, but then I smush it down. I'm like, it's just one. Like that story you gave it is you. And that's how I kind of like see everybody. We're all just one vibrating frequency wave that just so happens to have the same definition as God, can never be created or destroyed, moving in and out of everything, so it's like, I'm really, really good with that. So when it comes to capturing my inner king, it's an automatic. I made it a thought foundation. I'm one with God. If you ask me, that's a little bit higher up than the king, and if I can get everybody else on that level, like, some of these soldiers, that would be amazing. I want to ask you this. I've always had trouble, or it's always been an obstacle or hurdle, whatever you want to call it, with like vets, because it's very hard to tell somebody who's been through some stuff like that. Thus become things you kind of manifested that. You know what I mean? Like they kind of like, oh, this is not my fault. Da da da. And so how do you get around that?
Right. I love that you're asking that question. One of the ways that they are broken from it is that they do see that this path was of their choosing. The plant medicine gives them this enlightenment. What you're talking about is victim syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to hear the truth. Look, we all know victim syndrome is the VS. It's kind of like the VD. It is contagious. And if
It's very hard to shake.
And it is. It's a hard one to swallow. Look, I won Emmys for this shit. So I was a great victim. Oh my God. People pleasing, codependent, narcissistic. Go, man. I was every one of those at some point.
You had
Because
it
that's
covered.
just, I covered it really well. And so now when I say victim syndrome is like, it's definitely the VS. Well, we have a solution. We have the emergency butt hurt kit. So the emergency butt hurt kit is like this. You can go sit down on your special hemorrhoidal pad. We'll give you some tissues for your issues, and you just write that shit on down. You go ahead. You see, how do you deal with it? You have to deal with it straight up. Now, you want to be, are we going to use compassion? Of course we are. Of course we're going to be compassionate. Are we going to be use the tool of curiosity? Are we going to actively hear and listen to what's real for them and then invite them to maybe view it a little bit differently? I probably wouldn't hit a strong, hardcore PTSD client with, yo, I'm victim syndrome.
Yeah.
No.
That's like going from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds or
Yeah,
less. That's
probably,
a fast acceleration.
No, I don't call the ambulance until I've worked with them for a minute. When I work with them and then it's the wham. Okay, yeah, you need the ambulance. I call it on myself. I created the ambulance for myself. Okay, because ambulance, wham, oh, it was good. And then the victim syndrome came out. I'm like, oh, I'm a victim. But I know what that's like to be stuck in victimhood. And I also know that shaming that we do to ourselves is so brutal in the victim syndrome.
Oh, yes.
And the reason we go at it compassionately with curiosity is to invite somebody to possibly think about it a little differently. If you're telling the same story over and over and over again, and you think your life is going to change, that's your first clue. You're telling the same shit over and over. But here's the deal, y'all, it might be working for that person to be there, and that might be okay too.
That's right.
I'm gonna chime in on this one because
please.
I have a cousin of mine that went to jail for like 29 days, so it wasn't even serious. Like it wasn't serious.
That's pretty serious, regardless.
Yeah. So at every barbecue, every time I pass by him, he's telling stories about his jail visit. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I got to get him to stop doing that or he's going to end up back in jail.
Right.
100% hands down, like my shirt says, he's going back for some stupid stuff again. And like I said, it was that long. It wasn't even there that long. Why are you still talking about it? Out of everything I said to him, I could never get him to stop telling this story. And one day, he was telling it to a group of other cousins, and I could see his negative energy just attaching onto them. A slime trail, I call it. He was leaving a slime trail all over.
Nice charm. I like that.
And I walked up. Thank you. I walked up and I said, I don't know how it just came to me because I was looking for this for years. And I just said, damn, that's the seed you're going to water right now. And I saw his mind go seed, water, plant. I never heard him tell that story again.
Really? Oh, nice.
Finally got through to him. And, he hasn't been back to jail since, but.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
You've got to, especially when it's someone you care about, when you see them going down that rabbit hole, when you see them constantly taking it to that negative headspace, you got to reel them back in. You don't want to force the law of attraction on anybody because, they might not receive it, but when it's your loved ones, you want to. So you got to reel them back in. You guys have any strategies for that? Let's say for a 16-year-old kid that's 2 rooms over from me.
Well, kids are actually easier, I think, to be perfectly honest. It's the guys my age that are the hard ones because they got 60 years of all this negativity that they're going to try to reverse in about 5 days, and that's not going to work so nicely. But the kid who's 16, he hasn't built up that much yet. He's built up some for sure, especially if he's lived in a tough neighborhood or something like that. But he hasn't built up the same amount that he would have built up if he made it. Well, first of all, if he lived that long, if he made it to 60, he'd have a whole ton of it built up by that point. So that's the first point that I think about. The second one I point about is, okay, he is where he's at right then, whatever that is. He may be in a really negative headspace, but he's at the point that he's at. Where's the payoff for him? There's always a payoff, no matter how bad, how crazy, how stuck, how victim driven we are. There's always a payoff, right, Dad? Isn't there always a payoff to being a victim?
Well, if it's serving, it's real simple. That's just what's serving them. I love all this, though. That's a good question. My kids are 29 and almost 33.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, Neil, you ready? It's not my business. It's not my business. It's not my business. Fuck it. Oh, excuse me. I did it again.
You do it about every 5 minutes. You can just let that one go,
All right. Well, thank God.
I'm with it.
Sure. But it's okay. Letting go of the idea that we need to interrupt somebody else's dark moment. Letting go of the idea as a parent that it's our job to get them out of the dark and not allow their soul growth is a real hard one to do. Especially when you got a 16-year-old. I got a 29-year-old that does this all the time. How do you do it, sweetie? You be the example. You see, you got to be the 100th monkey, man. And the 100th monkey is social change. You see, the monkeys were studied in Hiroshima. This is in 1956. Y'all look it up. And in 1956, when they're studying it, they noticed that the children were washing the yams. You see, he's actually here to teach you, and we think we're here to teach them. And these monkeys started washing their yams. Nobody else was doing it. And over the years, they noticed that they taught the parents and so on and so forth. And pretty soon, the whole island is washing their yams. Okay, well, that's cool. They're like, wow, when did this happen? They assume it's at the 100th monkey. That's the 100th monkey effect. Now, what's even more bizarre is that this happens across hundreds of miles away in another island. They're doing the same study, and they see the same social change 2.0. Yes. So the mimicking, the learning, the everything, we are the example. So, the challenge is there with our children, though, to give us that expansion. It's also helping us to learn to let go of what we think needs to be. And it's a tough one. I love what Jeff is saying, being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is very true. And I love that because vulnerability is the new sexy, So there's many, but compassionately communicating, there's just like a whole ball. That's a whole other ball game. Like, and it's my kids thought I had gone half shit bonkers crazy, which I'm like, it took you that long to figure that out? What's up with you? Jesus, man.
Yeah, but I can't say that to anybody. I don't care how old they are because it took me 50 years. So, I got nothing on them.
Well, I'm just saying, my kids, like they when I started doing this, I said, listen, I did dysfunction. We did dysfunction. Now, at this point, their dad had already died, and this was just a few years ago, and they are going through their stuff. This is like, we have some serious stuff. Like, how are we going to how do I do this differently? Because I know what we're doing is not working. And they, of course, right up like, no. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Look, we did it this way. You can think I'm crazy all you want. I'm going to try it my way because this has not worked. And you just can't not give a crap. Oh, yes, I can. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I can. Yes, I can. The consequences are the consequences. Oh, let's talk about the most compassionate tribe in Africa. I'll give you another one for your son. This one's killer. Okay, so the most compassionate tribe in Africa, when they decide to have a child, they go off and they pray. The wife prays until she hears a melody, she hears a song, and she learns the song. She comes back and she teaches it to her husband, and they make love and they sing the song. And all during the pregnancy, she's singing the song. They're teaching the song to the tribe. When this child is born, it is born into this world by singing the song. Okay? When this child needs to be reprimanded, what do you think they do? They remind him who he is. They sing him his song. Even when he does something gnarly and like we would like be like, death sentence. I'm serious. I am absolutely 100% serious. They will pull the chief in and the chief will sing him his song. The child, the now a young adult. And they go off and they sit and they remember their melody within of who that they truly are. And we remind our children who they really are, not the judgment of what their act is.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's what I have to say about that.
That's deep right there. I'm on it. I am on it. I got a song for my son.
You're also reminding me of something that Cindy Chavez has told us many times here on the show. She points out that energy entrains unto itself, which is another way of saying whatever your energy is what you're going to get more of. So if you are trying to influence somebody else, yes, they have to be receptive to some degree to whatever influence you're putting their way. But if you want them to be influenced by you, you got to influence them on the level you want them to be at. You got to be at that level. And that sometimes requires starting at their level and climbing up. That's okay.
But what if you shouldn't be looking at anybody's level and only minding your own shit?
Well, let me get there. Let me get there. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Go, baby.
Let me get there because that's actually part of where I'm going to. So bear with me. I'm just going. I'm going the slow road. You took the fast route right to the top of the mountain. So, which is typical. That's what you're good at. You're really great at that. What I'm suggesting is if you start with where they're at, understand that vibration, raise your vibration, and raise it at a rate that is comfortable enough for them to still be around, they will tend to entrain to it. And then as you get higher and higher and higher, like you are alluding to, an interesting phenomenon takes over: indifference. You become much more indifferent to whatever crap they're dealing with. And because you become more indifferent to it, if they keep following you up, guess what happens with them? They become indifferent to the same crap. And so you basically are, it's like a train. The train is the engine is leading the cars up the hill until finally they basically follow you to the top of the hill, which of course really you never reach it. The top is endless. But the point is, that's how you lead them there. Now, just because you can lead them there doesn't mean they're actually going to follow. And I think that's what goes to your point. Your point is you have to be willing to just let them, if they're going to wallow, they're going to wallow. Just let them be there. But if you really want to lead them out, that's the way to lead them out, and be ready for the fact that they may not follow. But if they do, take advantage of the fact that energy entrains unto itself.
Interesting theory. I like that.
I have this video called Manifesting Actions, and just a quick rundown of what it is, what it's about. My son, the same one, he was yeah, or acting up. As my daughter was the angel, my son, you know, he was me coming up. So yeah, I got the payback. I could say. So he was acting up in school, you know, grades or whatever, not doing homework, whatever. And when people would ask him, you know, how's Tony doing? I would be like, this boy, you know, like, oh, it always started like that. And when I realized in the spirit of manifesting, what was I doing every time I thought that, every time I said that, every time I got an email from one of his teachers or whatever, you know, I was watering this negative seed. I was manifesting this situation into my life. And so what I did was I went back and I looked at some old emails from like 3 years before, no lie, like 3 years before, when his teachers were emailing me good reports also. I looked at those, and I bet you not, every single time I dip into that batch of emails, I get a cool month out of them. You know, I get a good month out of them. No lie.
I believe it.
And so that is one of my biggest law of attraction type things. If your boss is being a butthole, just think of the old boss that wasn't. Just appreciate how cool it was and how they appreciated you, and watch what happens at work. Capitalize on that. There is a fine line between wanting someone to do something and proactively manifesting someone to do something. It's a gray area. You might get disappointed if it doesn't go the way you want, but if you can play it the right way and make it all about you, just bring it home center. I'm manifesting this for my future, not worried about anyone else's energy. I think you do some amazing things with that. If you can sniper, hit it the right way, use the right mental techniques, the right mental exercises. Yeah, you can get other people to do some things. Trust me.
I agree. And I think it kind of comes within, like what you're saying, we're creating our preferred reality. And if we're creating our preferred reality, that means that it's just the way it rolls. When you start remembering our children when they first came in this earth, I literally have to go all the way back to that. Like, I have to go way back, because sometimes as they're older now, the challenges are different, you know? So I have to go way, way back, and I have to just keep remembering that. And this is not a cakewalk, y'all. This is like, doing this stuff is...
It's practice. It takes practice.
It's total practice, and with intention, and this is part of our work, because if you can do this with your kids, you can do it with anybody.
You got to change your foundations, though. This isn't something you could just affirmation away and just start believing.
That's true.
You got to change the way you see things, so that when events hit you, your ego sees them differently. It doesn't go in a panic mode. It doesn't do all the crazy stuff that it's doing now. You have to literally trick your ego into reacting differently. And once you get that leash on your ego, you're good. You turn that leash into a shock collar. You start steering it left and right. You know, make it your slave or whatever you want to call it, and then just roll from there. Once you get a hold of the ego, once you learn more about it, that's why I said you got to study. Debbie, you said something earlier about one of your friends took a personal retreat after he had discovered some stuff about himself. It's hard to find people who are going to go and discover some stuff about themselves, let alone take another chunk of time after that to analyze that. That's somebody who's headed somewhere. That's somebody who's on the right path. And I encourage everyone to get like that. If you learn something new about yourself, study what you just learned. Don't just go with that. Take it deeper than deeper than deeper. You're only going to get to know yourself better and more. And your relationship with yourself, AKI, will be better. And you'll get more and you'll be happier. And it's all just like a 4-dimensional spider web of perfectness. And
what you're really talking about is paying attention more often, on a much more regular basis, to what's important to you, to what you like, to what feels good to you, that's the right direction, it resonates with you. Just the act of doing that. I mean, I love the way you describe it, but just the act of doing it more than you were doing the other one, or even increasing the difference between the two, just that alone makes all kinds of difference in the way stuff happens in your life. It makes a difference in the way that you experience things. It makes a difference in the way that you care about things. I think that's the biggest thing. You guys have been eloquently talking about how we get into this space of, you know, that negative space, and we kind of hang out in that space, and we're looking for all this crap in this space. And that's really just focusing all of our attention on stuff that we don't like. How easy it is to realize all we got to do is shift our attention to what we like. I mean,
Or
the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Well, appreciation, same thing. Yeah. I mean, the simplicity of it actually stops us in our tracks because we say, well, that's too darn easy. It can't be that.
It's that word.
I'm gonna say since gratitude could be far fetched for some people because of their current situation. Obviously, I'm from the hood, so I naturally think of them in a lot of situations on how they would get over it. It's hard to appreciate in certain situations. So if you can't appreciate, you gotta just kind of give it a old fuck it type mentality. Like, this is happening. I have zero control over this situation right now. And that's a huge thing about your mentality. You got to realize that you have zero control over anything happening around you. Even if you want to lift your arm, you got to wait for that pulse to go down. The only thing you have control over is your imagination. And that just so happens to be the prerequisite to what's going to happen out here. So once you realize I ain't got no control over the situation, it's going to be what it is for now. You give out that deep breath and you could just let it go. That's way better than holding on.
Totally.
No doubt.
So if you
And
I
love that. See, because what you're bringing up is a couple of things. One is the fact that gratefulness is viewed as being weak. To be grateful, it's a myth. Dr. Robert Emmons in the Book of Thanks and also the Little Book of Gratitude dispels all these myths in the 25 years of research that he's done over the word grateful. However, you're 100% on point because there's times it's like, I know I'm not going to be grateful for that. I don't feel like it because it looks like shit. Well, okay. And my son, well, there's Miss Gratitude. She's not in the house. Okay. Because we're all human. What do? I wish I could be grateful for this. I wish I could like this shit, but I don't. And I loved how you said, it's just, fuck it. It is what it is. Like, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. The other thing I love is curiosity. When we're looking at shifting from a space of the lead of the ego into the gold of the spirit, and we need to figure out how to appreciate it, be curious with yourself why it bugs you in the first place. So the answer is within. It's not within out there. It's within here. So if you get curious with you, well, why can't I appreciate this? Well, I don't know. Are you afraid of the dark? Well, you might be. But when the dark is dark, do we sit and judge it as being bad? No. So, but yet we judge the things that come up in our life as being good or bad because we were taught to do such, rather than observing the isness of what is happening. And when it doesn't suit us, being curious, why the hell is this bugging me? I had to do this with my son, like, today too.
What, you mean this is daily? You have to do this stuff? Oh my God.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, look, I have had in the last 2 weeks, I'm like Stretch Armstrong. You know that toy that you stretch like this? And you stretch the fucker and you just keep stretching it? Okay, that was my ego, the Stretch Armstrong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, there's a couple people that then I had to sit back and go, damn it. Why is it bugging me so much? What am I seeing here? What am I recognizing that I need to own within me? What boundary, what word, what thing has not been put into place that I am even feeling this way right now? What kind of self-responsibility can I take for this? Because I am not going to get into that space that's going to suck ass and be victimhood. That was how I literally did it. I had to just sit with myself and go, but these are the moments when you're stretched like that. When you snap to again, you're going to be like, okay, I think I might get this a little bit. Maybe not. I could croak tomorrow and come back and tell you something totally different. I promise. I would, because I'm going to haunt everybody.
What you're doing? Look what you're doing, though. When you do that, you're actually beyond. You're going beyond asking the question. You're also asking the unstated question, which is, where do I want to be instead?
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh, and here's something to think about. Maximum grace is the grace being the fragrance of life, the fragrance of what is. when you've lost everything and you're sitting wherever you're sitting and you're thinking how your life sucks, how about if you're just sitting wherever it is and just feeling the grace, the fragrance of life? How do I do that? Well, I might have to go put my feet in the grass. Might go back to Neo's beginning with his grandma and sitting with nature and sitting with what is and not judging it. Do we judge the tree and say, tree, you know what? I don't even like the way you're growing right now because you suck. And in fact, you know what, tree? I don't even think I like that branch the way that you grew that at all. And no, you suck, tree. No.
I'm gonna jump in and say that that has a lot to do, I think, with, we have no control over it, so we kind of just let it go. And that's what people need to do with other situations that they can control over. But in that book, The Untethered Soul, I just wrote that down. He speaks about a need to feel comfort in a situation. I use me for an example. I was always scared to fly. And when I thought about it, my mind would be like, okay, you're in the air, da, da, da. And it gives me as much control over the situation as it can to keep me at bay and feel okay. So that's kind of what happens. Every situation you have, your mind, if your mind isn't comfortable with it, it tries to come up with a way that it can handle it. It can deal with it. And then you're sitting with this, okay, this is how I'm going to have to deal with this situation. And it's like, if you could get out before that, if you could jump out and wake up before your mind takes you there, that's the goal. That's the goal right there. Don't spend no time there. And then once you do that more often, the brain is a muscle, has muscle memory. You do it more often, they'll start to do it for you.
That's the fun part.
And then you end up in a situation where you're just saying, yo, I'm never going back to my old way of thinking. And that was my main goal. When I was working with people doing my life coaching thing, they had me labeled as a life coach. That was my thing. I need to get you in a normal headspace of this, and that. I need you waking up more often on your own. You shouldn't need me. That's my whole thing. I shouldn't be your life coach for 2 years. Nah.
Oh my God, I love you.
That means I'm not doing my job.
Right?
Yeah, Louise had the same philosophy when she was a therapist. She was a therapist for 10 years. And her philosophy was basically grow or go.
Yeah.
There's no third option.
Nice. See that?
You know what I dig is that what you just said was basically like let go of your attachment to things and what it needs to look like.
100%.
I love that.
It's all letting go.
I have this. Hold on, I'll get it. This book right here.
Oh, wait.
Dr. Wayne.
This is the best book on the planet. I
Change your
swear to
thoughts.
you.
Change your life.
Dude, this thing is just like living by hidden virtue. It's the teachings of the Tao Te Ching. What Wayne Dyer did is he took 10 of the most popular interpretations of the Tao Te Ching in the Western world, and he spent 1 year and he studied every single day. He would take one verse and he would meditate on that and he would expand on it. The Tao Te Ching is beautiful because everything that you're talking about, Neo and Walt, have to do with these types of teachings about letting go. Tsao really was good, and it really stepping into that space of just letting go. I just opened it up and it just remain a servant. See yourself as someone who's on the planet to assist others. Look for opportunities to be of aid, particularly to those who need your leadership. Remember, the Great Sea serves everyone by being a life-supporting receiver of all who wish to partake of her bounty. So practice emulating her by expressing the Tao.
Very nice. I like that.
This was it.
Change your life.
That's the book right there. There it is. For everybody who can't see it on the podcast, it's the Dr. Wayne Dyer book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And it is definitely a winning book, no doubt about that.
Yeah, living the wisdom of the Tao. We miss Dr. Wayne Dyer's physical presence here on this planet, but extraordinary work he's left behind, and this is one of my favorites. But I just want to say thank you to both of you today for just being outstanding and wonderful, and for lifting my heart vibration. So extraordinary.
I want to thank both of you for now being part of the Friday team with me. I love this. This is great. I mean, I've been an advocate for some time now that 3 is the best combination for doing a podcast. You guys just proved me right. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Good stuff.
It's my turn. Thank you guys. Like I said before, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here doing this with you guys, with two people that are very good at this. Because I did a podcast called Masters of the Law of Attraction, and what I learned was a lot of people I was interviewing didn't really know what the hell they was talking about. So it's refreshing. It's very refreshing to be here and do this. It's like medicine for me. Like literally, it's like a reset medicine for me. I'm ready to go now. So thank you for that.
You just said it. You just said it. The reset, y'all. This is the reset. That's what we are doing. All of us. I was talking to this about Leland and with Leland and our vets the other day, and I'm like, guys, it's no longer recovery. It's a. And then somebody said reset. I said yes.
Yes.
Reset.
Nice. I like that.
We're going to
Good
reset.
stuff.
I love you guys.
Well,
Jeffrey, you need to hit me up so I can interview you. Do that.
Sounds
Theo,
good.
You got to book with me. I love you guys.
And with that, we were like a minute over, so I got to pull this to a close. But, I mean, when it goes good, you can't stop it. You just got to keep the energy going. But thank you guys very much. Thank you especially to our podcast listeners, because, hey, guys, without you, we wouldn't have a podcast. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.